Hey, what's up, guys? I wanted to explore something with you, something that's been on my mind. I've spent the majority of the last 2 years in the Philippines. I'm about to head back overseas again. And whenever I get close to my trip back there, I start to think about things more and I start to think about my plan moving forward. And I hope some of these reflections might help you if you've never been to the Philippines, or if you're in the same situation I am and you've spent a little bit of time and you're still figuring things out. So just to back up, when I left to come to the Philippines the first time, I'll be honest with you, I was at a state where I was fed up with dating and relationship opportunities. I was living in the US, so that was mainly my area for like dating and stuff over the last several years. And I was burnt out and I had zero like hope for anything to get better. And it led to me looking into other options, kind of like a lot of you guys do. And I had a Filipino friend that sort of mentioned the Philippines, in conversation after a breakup, and got me thinking about it, got me looking into it, and the rest is history. But what I have come to realize is that sometimes in life we get a little built up about things. We get a little bent out of shape about things. And not only was I burnt out and venting about dating and relationships, I was kind of feeling that way about the West in general. And then you go to a new country, and I went with all this, high hopes and expectations and excitement about these new opportunities living in the Philippines, for relationships, for lifestyle, low cost of living, stuff like that. And I made a video recently that just talks about some of the drawbacks of the Philippines. And the reality is there's a honeymoon phase. There's a honeymoon phase to everything. A new relationship, a new place to live. So there came a point where I started to notice more of these things, some of these drawbacks. And the reality is everywhere has pros and cons. Since coming back to Canada, I've noticed great things about Canada. Canada has amazing quality of life if you have the budget for it and if you can look past some of the drawbacks. Same with the US. There's a lot of reasons to be fed up with the US. There's no doubt about it. But the US in general is still an amazing country, and a lot of people have a happy life there. And could I live in Canada or the US and make it work? Probably, but this is the kicker for me. And I think most guys will understand this and relate to this. And it's probably either number one or number two reason why they would move to the Philippines. The cost of living and the ability to set up a life for yourself where the pressure goes down and life balance starts to kick in, and you start to have more time in your life to enjoy things that really matter, things that you're interested in, passionate about, things that maybe you wanted to pursue but you didn't have time to do it, or things that you wanted to pursue but you didn't have the money, you couldn't afford it in the US or Canada or wherever. So you start looking at a place like the Philippines. Even though I recognize more drawbacks and I feel those drawbacks more than I did during the honeymoon phase, I still see the Philippines as a place where there's opportunity to find an amazing setup that encompasses all the key things, right? Some sort of relationship, some sort of housing, some sort of routine and lifestyle where you're pursuing things, passions, whatever. I feel the Philippines, for most guys, if you can look past the drawbacks, can find that in the Philippines. And this is what I'm excited about. This is the part that gets me excited again about heading back over there. All right, sorry, I had to change locations. It's later in the day. Gonna finish my thought. Okay, so I have a plan, and this is what I'm thinking. After being back in Canada for a month and a half and being able to process everything, of all the countries out there, I really only know the Philippines. And I've mentioned it before that I do intend to travel the region, and I'm going to look at those places. Like, I'm gonna think about, like, okay, could I live here? What's it like? And I'll make content to kind of compare it to the Philippines. But the Philippines is on my radar more than anything else, like living there, hunkering down, having a home base. So this is my plan. It's getting the setup to where I have everything that I want. The routine is there, fitness, exercise, enjoying nature, enjoying all the amazing things that I love about the Philippines. And then from there, once I get that established, I'm going to start taking trips. I'm going to take a trip. I'm going to pick a spot. I'm going to go for a few weeks, explore it, check it out, make content, and then come back to my home base, come back to that setup that is ideal. Now, along the way, I can't predict like what it's gonna be like for me. Is it gonna change my whole thinking? Is it going to pull me away from the Philippines? Am I gonna go to Thailand and go, this is calling me? I don't know. I can't really say, and I don't want to really overthink it. Everyone you talk to will tell you something different. They either love Thailand way more or they love Philippines way more. And they both have pros and cons. And a lot of people already know about that. But in general, like you could say the infrastructure is better in Thailand. Most people will say the food is better in Thailand. The language is better in the Philippines. Everyone speaks English. You know, meeting, dating, relationships and all that, meeting a potential partner is better in the Philippines. People are very friendly, welcoming, and I'm sure they are in Thailand too. But these are the things that kind of stand out for most people. I want to check all that out for myself and experience all of that. But the home base for now, without a doubt, and could be very likely that continues to be my home base, will be in the Philippines. I have a spot in mind. I'm not going to throw it out there right now, but I'm going to go to that spot that I've been thinking about quite a bit, and I'm going to see what kind of housing options there are there, see what kind of setup I can get there and build my lifestyle there. And I'm going to make a lot of content about that to give ideas for people on what setups they can get in this particular area and what things there are to do in this particular area, and go from there. It's going to be fun. Okay, to wrap this video up, let me state again, just know there is going to be a honeymoon phase. There's going to be a period of time, it's going to be a different period of time for everyone, that the buzz will wear off and some reality will set in. And it takes a certain mindset and a certain perspective for you to work through that. And the guys that can overlook those things will remain very happy in the Philippines. Remind yourself there's pros and cons everywhere. Sometimes you realize in life, like a lot of things that we do are just arbitrary anyways. It's like why we do certain things, why do we go to great lengths to do certain things. At the end of the day, you know, what makes us happy are sometimes the simplest things. Be grateful for the qualities, be grateful for the things, the advantages of a place like the Philippines, the advantages of the lower cost of living, the freedom of better lifestyle because of the low cost of living, the safety of the Philippines, the friendliness of the Filipino people. Things like that are important to consider. Another thing you can think about is if you do go to the Philippines, you're in a region, like I talked about exploring the region, where you can take these trips, where you can get away. You can kind of have a little break. If certain aspects of the Philippines are getting on your nerves, fly over to Thailand, fly over to Vietnam, eat some different food, spend a couple of weeks. That's one of the perks of living there, is that it's more affordable and you can travel more. You can do these things that you could never afford to do back home. So keep that in mind for sure. Another thing that I want to say, you know, looking back when I first went to the Philippines, there's the honeymoon phase, but there's also this weird phase of like before you even go and you're overthinking everything and you're nervous and there's so much fear involved of like what it's going to be like and how am I going to get from A to B. And I was overthinking everything. Like I remember thinking I need someone to meet me at the airport, and I had a Filipino friend and he had a buddy that lived in Cebu and he arranged for him to pick me up at the airport, and I was like so unsure of everything. And I get a ride to IT Park and, you know, hiding in the safety of IT Park in Ayala Mall. And then over the course of a year and a half, you're breaking away from all that. And I'm traveling out in the province and I want to get away from the bubble. And you're going to go through all of this. So just take a deep breath and go for it. Make sure the main boxes are ticked. Make sure your finances are in order. You know, travel insurance is something to consider. I have a travel insurance link in my description, by the way. I never mentioned that, but check that out, SafetyWing, if you want to get travel insurance. You know, a funny thing to think about is like I'm speaking as a guy that spent a total of about a year and a half in the Philippines, right? So I'm reflecting now as someone that's done some traveling and that knows a decent amount about the Philippines and, you know, things to think about compared to when I first came to the Philippines, how green I was. But I'm just a year and a half guy, and me in another year and a half and another 5 years or whatever. And I know a lot of you out there that might be watching this, that you guys have been in the Philippines for many years. You know what I'm talking about. Like your perspective changes over time. There's a lot of these things to think about. I'm going to make another video soon that goes over like the first timer going to the Philippines and some things to consider. But anyways, this is just a video. It's like a follow-up to that video that I made recently with talking about the drawbacks, kind of venting and reflecting. And now that I'm getting very close to heading back over there, I'm feeling that excitement again. And I just wanted to, you know, bring part 2 to that video and tell you what I'm thinking right now and share some of these thoughts. I'm excited, and I want to get you excited too if you're kind of in the same boat and you're planning a trip over there to any of those countries over there. There's a lot of reasons to be excited. Stay tuned, guys. A lot of content to come. I'm gonna make a few more videos while I'm here in Canada, and then it's back, boots on the ground. Can't wait. Thanks for watching this one, guys. Take care. Bye.